Shannon, scale of 1 to 10, how concerned should we be right now about Team USA?
Skip, I'm at an 8. I'm concerned but I don't think the team is constructed very well. When you look at the team, they're a very, very small team. Really, your only true two bigs, I mean, if you consider those guys bigs, is Draymond and Bam. They're also your only two primary defenders, but they're like not perimeter defenders. If you look at the way the dream teams have been, and this is not a dream team, but if you look at the way they've been constructed, you look at Scottie and Mike. You had 2 7-footers in Patrick Ewing and David Robinson. You've always had a Dwight Howard. You've had a Tyson Chandler. You had a Shaq. You had an Elijah Wan. But they don't have that. They said, you know what we're going to do? The way the game is going now, the way the game is shifted, Skip, we're going to score. We're going to outscore you. We're going to outshoot you. Well, hell, in 2 games, Nigeria and Australia have outshot you. And guess what else is happening, Skip, because they're small? They're getting killed on the glass. They lost Nigeria by 12. They lost last night by 7 to Australia. This is not shaping up to be well. At some point in time, somebody's got to say, you know what, we're going to take a back seat. Skip, it's not a glamorous. You don't get credit. You don't get bonus points for leading the Olympic team in scoring. You might not know this, but Charles Barkley led the original Dream Team in scoring. But he wasn't as big as Mike. He wasn't as big as Magic and Larry. So you got to be willing to take a back seat, Skip. I remember, I think it was 2012. Kobe went to Coach K and says, look, I'm here to defend. Put together a tape of the opposing team's best offensive guys. I got them. Now, you know Kobe could play D. D. Wade was willing to play D. LeBron, if he needed to, could lock up. But right now, Skip, everybody's like, and they need a point guard. They need a true point, a guy that can get them in and out of set, get them easy shots. Right now, they don't have that. Now, Skip, I'm not in one of these camps that believe because we have all NBA players that we're supposed to be dominating, we're supposed to blow these teams out like they did in the original, like they did early on. Because the world is starting to catch up. The world has some of the best players also, Skip. Yeah, I believe we have overall the most of the best players in the NBA. But you see Jokic, you see Doncic, you see some of these guys, Sabonis, Skip, Giannis. They have guys that can play at a very high level. They're superstars. So I'm not in this camp. We should be beating these teams by 50 points. No, we shouldn't. But I do believe we should be winning these games. And I understand that a lot of these teams have played together a lot longer than we have. They're just as ragtag for us. This is basically an all-star game, Skip. They came together, 5-6 days ago, and they're trying to go out there and compete. But because the team is not constructed, I believe, in the right way, with no defenders, all scorers, no true point guard, no bigs to protect the rim and rebounding. I think that's what we're seeing, and it's showing its head. But guess what? There's some other teams that got bigger play, the Serbs are a little bit bigger than the Nigerian team. Now, I believe the Nigerians, they shot, 23, Skip? I don't know if they're going to be able to shoot like that consistently. But the Americans are going to have to defend the three-point line, Skip. They're going to have to do a better job defending the perimeter. Jason Tatum and KD got backdoored how many times? Patty Mills is taking people off the dribble. That'll get you beat. That'll get you beat.
So you're all the way up to an 8.
I'm an 8. I'm an 8 with level of concern.
The fire alarm is going off.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's just, it's just one game. Skip, you got to think about it. They lost 2 games in over 10,000 days. They lost 2 games in 48 hours.
Okay, so my scale 1 to 10 of concern right now for this team is at a 2, and it probably should be at like a 0.5.
Okay.
But I will give you this. The world is catching up to us, and every time we have another international games, it just gets a little closer and a little closer and a little closer.
Yeah.
And last night we were playing an Australian team that had 5, and what is it, 6? I think 1, 2,
Patty
3,
Mills,
4, 5,
Thibault,
6.
Ingles,
It's 6 NBA players. And all these kids who are now men, they grew up together.
Yes.
So they've been playing internationally together for
at
going
least
back
a decade.
About a decade. And Patty Mills is getting up there in years, and Aaron Baines is getting up there, and Della Vadova is up there, Ingles, but they're aging players, but they're brothers.
Yeah.
And you got to respect the fact that they can just walk on the floor and click.
Yes.
And there's going to be chemistry among the Aussies.
Basically like Tom Brady and Gronk.
That is
because
true.
they played together so long. They went right to tab and picked right up where they left off.
And just for the record, back in 2019, we played them in an exhibition ahead of world competition, and we lost to them by 4 in an exhibition. So that was one of those 54-2.
Correct.
We lost that. And then back in 2004, to your point, we did lose to Italy badly, 95-78 on the way to the Olympics that we we bombed
laid an
it.
egg.
Yeah, we laid the biggest all-time egg ever, and we got the bronze, so we finished 3rd, and we lost 3 games in that Olympics, and that was a team featuring AI. Starberry was on that team. D. Wade, Melo, LeBron was a very young player, and he didn't play that much. Stoudemire, Tim Duncan was on that team. Lamar Odom was on that team. So it had its star power, and it finished 3rd.
Right.
And it got its butt kicked 3 different times in that Olympics, and then lost the semifinal to the eventual champion, Manu's Argentina. Okay. So now back to your point about size. Let's start with size. So they did. They actively and publicly said, we're going to build a shooting team as opposed to, at the sacrifice of pure height.
Right.
So I don't know, what's another American center that they had a shot at? There's a guy playing in the finals right now named DeAndre Ayton.
He's Bahamas.
He's Bahamas, so that doesn't work. I don't think he qualifies. I'm not sure about it, but I don't think he qualifies. So then, we go Embiid, Cameroon, we go Jokic, and I'm looking around, and the landscape is kind of dry.
It's Kevin Love.
Yeah, it's Kevin Love. Or, DeAndre Jordan, who's up there in years, and he wasn't even able to crack the playing time playing in the playoffs. He was a DNP every night.
Yes.
So I'm not sure where else you could have gone with that.
AD got hurt. AD's injured. So he's really one of the...
That would have worked.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one. But he's hurt.
Yes.
And you mentioned a bunch, you got Kawhi and you got Kyrie, hurt.
They should have, maybe Paul George. Paul George can shoot and can defend.
Yep. Okay. I'll buy that. I don't know if he wanted.
Maybe he wanted, considering that what transpired many years ago. He's like, no, I'm done with that.
It might be that he's done with that. Okay. So now I look at Australia. They're pretty good. And remember, this team will vie for the gold. This is one of the top 3 anyway teams going to
Argentina,
the
Spain.
Yep. Okay. So I look at these, and again, we got 6 NBA players, but you got a guy nobody here knows named Jock Landale, who's 6'11". I didn't know him, had to look him up, but he played at St. Mary's and was the player of the year in the West Coast Conference. Right. So he was where Patty Mills went to St. Mary's.
Right.
So he was pretty good. And then he went back to Australia, and he was the MVP of their finals of the Australian Pro League. Right. So he's pretty good, and he's 6'11". And then a guy who caught my eye last night was that Duop Reith, and he's another 6'11" guy who played at LSU and now plays, I think, in Serbia.
Right.
But the point is, he's 6'11".
Correct.
So you got issues with these guys who are taller, who are out-rebounding you.
Yes.
And yet, this is my view of what's going on. Obviously, our NBA season was as escalated and accelerated as it has ever been.
Yes.
So you got guys who are mentally gassed right now who are not flipping the switch yet.
Right.
And if you don't flip the switch against these guys, it's like what Ingles said after the game. We walked into this game expecting to win. And I think they just thought, we're just better than these guys are.
And Skip, I think the thing is, it means more to them to beat the Americans than the Americans to beat these other teams.
Yeah, especially in an exhibition.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not shocked by the outcome because we played a good half. We were up 11 in the first half, then we were up 9 at halftime, and then we got blown off the floor in the third quarter because I think we just mailed it in.
Yep.
32-18 Australia in the third quarter,
Correct.
and then 22-19 when we tried to turn it back up in the fourth quarter. And to your point, I saw way too many backdoor cuts for layups where guys are just literally asleep.
Right.
Jason Tatum was just like sleepwalking.
Yeah, he was.
And then he had a 3 the
air ball.
Yeah, and he shot a corner 3 air ball that just took the life out of Team USA. And it was just, here's the air ball from the corner. And it's just hard to watch because they're not into it. Here we go. Up and...
But Skip, that's not even close.
That missed like 3 feet left.
That's a Giannis shot.
Yep, that was a Giannis shot. By the way, Giannis is another one. Oh, he's Greek. Okay. So to me, I still look at our roster, and it's still extremely talented.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure as betting favorites go, they're going to be favored to win every game that they play when they set foot on the floor.
Yep.
So, again, Kevin Durant was pretty good last night. He was 4 of 9 from 3. And
Dame was 6
I thought
of 11.
Dame was really good,
Yeah.
6 of 11 from 3. So they went 10 of 20 from 3, and it wasn't good enough.
Right.
Well, that's pretty shocking to me. Bradley Beal had a bad night. He took 2 threes and missed both of them. And Jason Tatum, again, sleepwalking, went 0 for 6 from 3. Yeah. Well, they canceled out KD and Dame.
Right, because Dame, you're right. Damon's KD was 10 of 20, but everybody else was 3 of 16.
Okay, there you go. And you look at Australia, and they got points from everywhere, from everybody, because they're a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And Patty Mills went crazy and scored 10 in the fourth quarter. He's capable of doing that.
Oh, he get hot.
For the greatest Spurs dynastic teams, he often was the closer for those teams. And you remember what he did to your team in 2014, shot you right out of the gym in the finals.
But also, Skip, if you think about it, the internationals, they allow you to be a little bit more physical. Well, Skip, let me take that back. A lot more physical.
Yep.
So you can't sell flops.
No.
They're not giving you that. And I think the NBA superstars, these guys are used to getting those calls. Some of the calls that happened last night, that would have been a foul in the NBA. But it's not an international ball.
No.
It's a play on. And they're looking around, and the referee like, what you want from me?
Okay.
We're not calling that.
So, to your point, our team was led last night in rebounding by Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard, of all players, with 4 each. Well, that's not good enough,
No.
and that's not going to win gold.
No.
So, again, that's about want to me. That's about desire. That's about effort. That's about heart and guts. And they're not ready to display heart and guts yet because they are treating these games in Las Vegas as they are so named as exhibitions. We've had teams in the past that didn't treat exhibitions this way. If we go back to the 2016 lead-in to the Olympics, look what we did in our exhibition. We went 5-0. We won 5 exhibition games by an average of 41 points a game. Well, we weren't even talking about it because nobody cared, because it was like, next, get on to the real competition. And for once, in a first, we have lost our first 2 exhibition games and lost them both fairly convincingly, where they both got out of hand at the end of the game.
Right.
Well, Nigeria has 5 guys who have played in the NBA.
Yes.
And Mike Brown is a very good basketball coach with NBA pedigree.
I'm surprised he didn't get a call or two like, hey, Mike, are you interested in this job?
Okay, you could be right. Well, there again, those guys are brother-like. Not as much as the Australians are, but brother-like. And they were fighting for God and country.
But if I'm not mistaken, Skip, 3 of them play on the same team. Don't 3 of them play with the Heat? So they're very familiar with each other. And a lot of these guys have been playing international ball. Jason Tatum, this is his first time at the international experience. It's different, Skip. You know, you grow up playing AAU ball. These guys grow up playing for their country. Their AAU is playing for the country team.
And Gabe Vincent, who does play for the Heat, doesn't do a lot for the Heat. He made 6 of 8 threes the other night for Nigeria. If you're going to do that, it's so lethal that it's going to be hard to overcome, and we weren't ready to overcome it.
Yeah, Skip, they make 23s? If you bomb 23s in the Olympics, you're probably going to win. Exhibition, it doesn't matter. You bomb 23s, you're more times than not, you're going to win that ball game.
So I still look at our roster. If you have KD and Damian and Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum and Bam and Zach LaVine and Draymond, I'm getting to be less and less a Draymond fan, but he does all the things that Popovich loves.
Right, Skip.
Look what he did. He had 5 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. And he scored a grand total of 1.
I look at Draymond in a situation like this. Anything that he gives you offensively is icing. But you want that. You want the rebounds. You want the block shots. You want him. But Skip, because he's mainly the guy that's initiating the offense. And that is the problem. You need a point. They had Magic. They had John Stockton.
Yep.
The Lakers had guys that could, I'm saying the Lakers. And if you look at 2008, you look at 2012, they had guys that could get guys easier shots. Everybody, Skip, that you just mentioned is great at what? Getting their own shot. But they're not great at getting anybody else's shots. Now, Damon is the best at it because Damon mainly runs the point. But Bradley Beal, that's not what Bradley Beal does. Russ does that. That's not what KD does. James Harden and Kyrie does that. That's not what Jason Tatum does. That's what Kyrie did before Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart. So you're asking guys to do things that they don't normally do.
Okay. So in the end, the competition is clearly stiffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our motivation is clearly less than
it's not like theirs.
Usual, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. Whomever wins the gold, let's just say for the sake of argument, the Americans don't win the gold medal. Argentina, they get in the ticker tape parade. Nigeria, they get in the ticker tape parade. The Aussies, they get in the ticker tape parade. If we win the gold medal, what we getting? You're supposed to. So it's different, Skip. It means different things to them as opposed to us because we look at it as we're supposed to. We created the game. How the hell we create the game and then y'all get better at it than us?
Yep. And they just keep getting better.
They keep getting better. Yeah. It's different than 92,
and we kind of stay the same, I would say.
Skip, you remember when we put this thing together in 92? You had a couple. You had Sabonis. You had Marcelonis. You had Drazen Petrovic. Skip, there were only 5 or 6 international guys.
Yep.
Now you got 3 or 4 per team.
Yeah, it wasn't until Argentina had that band of brothers led by Manu,
yes,
that you saw a team from somewhere else come together and go dominate at an Olympics. That was shocking to me.
Yes. And Skip, the thing about Olympic basketball, guys play longer. I remember the great Oscar Schmidt from Brazil. Hell, he was damn near 50 playing. So these guys have played together. They start playing together at a younger age. They play together longer, so they're more familiar.
Yep.
This is Kevin Durant first time playing with Jason Tatum. This is some of these guys' first time ever setting foot on the court together. So it's different.
And Popovich said that after the game. We're just trying to figure each other out.
Right.
And they just got thrown together. And I'm going to remind everybody, I don't know how this will turn out, but on this team right now are supposed to be Devin Booker. And Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday.
At least 2 of those 3 guys can defend.
Okay. You want to talk about burned out?
Yeah, how much gas they got in the tank, Skip?
What if this does go, which is potential, 7 games?
Yes.
Well, then they're just going to turn right around and fly, you know, like you're going to go pack and fly, and you're going to, pretty soon it's coming in, a little over 3 weeks.
Right.
So you going to be ready for that after a grueling playoff run and maybe a 7-game finals?
Yeah, you better have a bag already packed.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can count on any of those 3. They might try to suck it up and go, and it would certainly help the depth of this team.
It would definitely help wing defenders. Drew Holiday can defend. Middleton can defend.
Oh, can he?
Now, Booker's not much of the defender. He can defend a little bit, but that's not his thing. He's another scorer. He's another shooter. I don't think we need more shooters. I think we need guys to defend. I think we need guys to rebound the basketball. But like you said, where are we going to get that from? You know any 6-foot, 7-foot Americans?
No.
I don't.
Nope.
The mere fact that they got Kevin Love on the team lets you know how depleted we are at bigs in America.
I'll give you that. But we do have one quote-unquote big who plays 7 feet tall, if he's not quite 7. He's like 7'7" in length.
Yeah.
And his name is Kevin Bleepin Durant.
Yeah.
And he is the best player on the planet. And he is a clutch closer. And I just think you haven't seen him clutch close yet because he's just pacing himself for Tokyo and what's going to happen when it starts for real. And I'm sure he's still a little drained from what happened in a 7-game playoff series that went to the bitter end for him and his Nets.
But you know how this works, Skip. The other countries are looking around, they can be got.
Maybe.
Man, the Aussies beat them. Nigeria beat them.
Yep.
They can be had. This might be our year. That's how teams start looking at it.
Yeah.
You see what happened, I think the year before in the lead-up, Skip, Argentina had beaten America before they got to the Olympics.
Yep.
So now that gives them the confidence. Skip, before that, we had lost. 92, 96, 2000, we were wiping the floor with everybody. And then you messed around and lost and you lose that era of invincibility.
Yep.
And this our time right now. We can get them. And that's, Skip, I don't care whomever else wins. If you beat the Americans, Skip, you good.
Okay. So I don't want to come off as jingoistic about we just dominate because we're born to dominate, because that's not what's happening here. But Kevin Durant, every time he steps on the floor, is going to be the best player on the floor.
Yes.
and there's going to be huge pressure on him. And he's served our country well many times in the past, so this isn't his first time.
Correct.
And I'm a little surprised he committed to even make this run at his advancing age. But he did, and because he did, I'm going to believe in him, and I'm going to trust that he will bring gold home. So that's my gut feeling is if I got Kevin Durant, I'm golden.
You know what it was, Skip? What's going on right now? Another country wins the gold medal is the equivalent of the U.S. hockey team. What they did in the 80 and late Classic. That's the equivalent. There's no way you're supposed to beat the Russians. There's no way, and I think they beat either Finland or Sweden in the championship match because that was to get to the gold medal round.
Okay, but remember, we didn't have any pros at that point.
That's what I'm saying.
They had been drafted, but they weren't professional hockey players.
But they still say that's the great.
Now all these other teams have. Australia has 6 NBA players.
Well, they were sending professionals for the longest time, and we were sending our college kids until they got beat in '88 in Seoul. That was a David Robinson-led team. And they said, hold on, wait a minute. Y'all sending pros, we sending college kids. They said, no more. 92, we got something for you.
Okay, so maybe I'm now speaking with my red, white, and blue heart, but I am willing to bet you 5 cases of Diet Mountain Dew that we win gold.
I ain't bet against America.
Why not?
Because
you just can't
you're
do
like that. You'd bet against America.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah? Huh? You'd do anything to get even. No?
In some things I would, but not in basketball.
Okay.
What about tonight, USA versus Argentina? Bet on that? I don't know.
Manu playing?
Yeah. He's cheering.
Okay, so you guys can think about that. We got about 2 weeks till Team USA for their first actual game that matters, July 25th. So we got a little time here. Let's not overreact, but it's something to
this game 7 will be the 23rd.
definitely keep an eye on. Keep an eye on. Good stuff from both you guys.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.